Thank you very much. I don't think I'll even need the PA system. I'm George Foster. I'm the CEO of Foster Marketing. I see some familiar faces in here. And it's good to present this morning and, on a beautiful day, albeit cool and windy. Foster Marketing, to give you a little bit of background, started in Lafayette, Louisiana in 1980. So this is our 35th year. And we market mostly 99% of our business is business to business, oil and gas, marketing, communication, mostly service companies. So in this presentation today, we're going to talk about consumer side, but as much as anything, maybe the B2B side for sure. I think what I'd like to maybe from a show of hands, get a feel for the audience. Do we have some students in here? We have a couple of students. What about the entrepreneurs in here? We have some entrepreneurs. Yeah, there you go. Do we have any engineers in here? I love engineers. Yeah. And any marketers in here? Yeah, there you go. Well, good. So we're going to try to cover all the bases here. Now, try not to be too. I gave this presentation several years ago at the Business Marketing Association in Houston, Marketing the Oilfield Conference, and the thrust of the presentation then was to empower Marcom people to get involved in the marketing strategy, as President Bush said, of product development. And as Scott did in his previous presentation on product development, is developing product is one thing, and then taking it to market is another. And today, hopefully, you'll be able to take some notes, and we're going to kind of go into, get this over forward, there you go. I'm kind of old school, as you can tell. And matter of fact, the other day I was with my son, and I said, Danny, I said to my son, I said, I need a newspaper. He said, Dad, don't you realize we're in the 21st century? Newspapers are passé, nobody reads the news anymore. It's all online, and you get all your news that way. So here's my iPad Pro. So he gave me his iPad Pro. I whacked that mosquito, it never did work. So sometimes old school is kind of good school. And so, for example, marketing. What is marketing? John Miller is president of Marketo. They are an automation software company. And his son asked him, Dad, what do you do? We get that question all the time. He said, I'm into automation software, marketing, marketing software. And then son asked, what is marketing? So John's answer was, what you do in business when you try to convince people to want and buy what you got to sell. Now there's a whole bunch more definitions of that. This is the worst one, and it's by the American Marketing Association. Marketing is activity, sets, institutions, processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. The dictionary definition is the commercial processes involved in promoting and selling and distributing a product or service. Now, some blogs have some interesting ideas about that. One blog said marketing tells the business what, how, and where to sell, and then we have parties. Another blog says, is it convincing people to buy, or is it convincing people to want? And we're going to really talk about that later in this presentation. And then finally one is my 11-year-old daughter explained that marketing was what happened when people were convinced to buy something that they really didn't need. So if I can get this to go.
With these airs for all the girls to buy princesses and all the boys race to buy superheroes.
Why?
Because the girls want superheroes and the boys want superheroes, and the girls want pink stuff and the boys don't want pink stuff. Yeah.
Boys want both, but why do you think they do that?
Because the companies who make these try to trick the girls into buying the pink stuff instead of stuff that boys want to buy, right?
Right, but you can buy either, right? The boys can buy either. If boys want to buy pink, they can buy pink, right?
Yeah, so then why don't all the girls have like princesses? Some girls like superheroes, some girls like princesses. Some boy like superheroes, some boy like princesses.
Absolutely.
So then why do all the girls have like pink stuff and all the boys have like different color stuff?
It's a good question, Harley.
A lot of times we get tricked, so we don't want to trick, we want to sell solutions. So Riley wanted blue and she got pink. That wasn't very exciting for Riley. But what we talk about what marketing is, what marketing isn't, it isn't marketing communications. That's one part of marketing. It's not sales. You'll see a lot of titles of people in businesses that are sales and marketing. It's really two different things. It's a unique discipline. And when you talk about old school, anybody in marketing, I saw Joby with the UL marketing department, and I said, why don't you give my presentation on marketing? He said, I've given a million of them. And what we would do in marketing is you learn about the 4 P's of marketing. And that's the product or service, price, place, that's your distribution channel, promotion. And that is a producer, it's decades old concept, but I think it's still a good one because when we first started in '80, we kind of were an ad agency. We just were a provider of services, ads, and things like that. As we grew in 15, we changed our name to Foster Marketing Communications to better reflect what we do, which is not just ads, it was the whole marketing idea. And then in 2010, we changed our name just to Foster Marketing because without the marketing, you can't really do the marketing communications. And so the 4 Ps, when we sit down with clients, and you'd be surprised how big some of these clients are as they introduce products or services. And they really have not thought about how this product is going to fit in the mix, the pricing of the product, the distribution. So these are the things we ask when we meet and we talk about the promotion. Now, other people say, these are the 4 Ps of marketing. Please, 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 please buy my soap. That might be the other 4 Ps. But there's also a 5th P, and that's people. And I tell a story of the client I had one time. We did bunches of promotion, and they got 3,600 leads out of trade show books and stuff like that, or oil and gas books. And I asked, how are we doing on those leads? And they said they're still in the drawer, that they never had been handed out to the salespeople. So if in fact we do spend all this money, and you don't have good people that execute your marketing plan or sales, it's a losing proposition. Other people have come in with ideas on P's. There's a positioning that's often considered another P, but preparation, persistence, pace, planning, passion could be other P's. But why should you, this group in here, embrace the P process? I mentioned to you earlier when I talked to the younger folks, students, that they really should get involved in as best as they can in the P process, because you're on the ground floor of new product and service development, and you can shape the strategy of the Ps and the pricing or whatever. And ultimately, if you understand all that, it's going to make your marketing communications better. Okay? So let's go through the Ps. Product or service. As I Scott did deal on this just a minute ago. Know your product, service inside or service inside and out. I can't tell you how many clients we're going to, and the people we deal with don't really know their product. I would encourage you to, Tiffany Harris, our president here, it's true. You walk around the manufacturing plant, understand your products. I can't say that enough. But the product, the features, the advantages are great. But we have to focus on the solution they provide. Nobody's interested in a product, they're interested in a solution. Think about all the times you go online to find something. You're looking for a solution for a need, it would be fixing my washing machine gasket or door handle, or my lawnmower carburetor problem. So we're looking for solutions, not necessarily a product. And I'm reminded of a client we had in the UK, had a new product, and the engineer, he brought the engineer out and asked the engineer to sit with Tiffany and myself and explain the product. So they did. He said, this is a downhole tool, great, it's got the XYZ gizmos and everything. And having done this a while, I get on there in my old age, I said, so what? You know, what's the benefit of that? And then he could explain high temperature, high pressure, whatever. But I felt bad for him because then he went on with his presentation, and every time he said a feature, the CEO sitting there said, so what? So he probably don't want to see me come by anytime soon again. But so you want to focus on the benefits. So when you sit down with your little chart and put the products, what are all the benefits of that deal? And then how does it compare to the competition? And then you're looking for, when you do compare it, you're looking for that unique selling proposition that pops out, that is your uniqueness there. Now, the next one, the old lemonade stand, you would think, some people went up to the lemonade stand, they asked the young girl who was operating, said, how do you get more sales? Did you get a bigger sign? And the smart young girl said, no, we lower the price. The lowering the price is not a value proposition. As a matter of fact, we just don't want to deal with low price commodity clients. We want to deal with clients that are going to bring value. And so you want to be competitively priced, but that affects how you market. But we want to go from price to value. And one of the things I think is people go, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, they go online and they're looking for things, and everything now is rated. When I went into the restaurant last night at Copeland's and got a bottle of wine, I pulled out my Cork Z app and scanned the barcode, and it said that's an 88 wine. I said, okay, I'll buy that. So I think in today's world, now it's a little bit different in the B2B side. It's hard to get, there's not a lot of consumers buying mud pumps. So it's hard to analyze those. But still, and we're going to talk about that in people here in a minute, place, in a global market, in the olden days, place had a bigger role. You could argue today, and it was argued in some of the research I've done really since I did my first presentation on this, that place is irrelevant because we're in a global marketplace and you can get anything. However, in a B2B market, it's not that way. For example, my son-in-law is in a business that all they do is somebody's in a bind on a rig late at night, middle of the night, and can get a part immediately. In other words, it ain't online. You just call and give some products, and I want that product today. And so they're going to argue that being where you are, your geographical location, is very important. And then all the time, certainly from a marketing perspective, when we market, we are very cognizant if we're only serving, even though we're serving worldwide, but if they can only supply, North America, we don't want to waste our marketing dollars marketing international if we can only go from service in the Gulf Coast or whatever. So place does become important in that aspect of your deal. Promotion, that's what we specialize in. It is a brand is what customers say about it. It's more than excuses, strategic. And if we know what the product's benefits and values are, it's going to be easier to market for sure. And then people, I talked about this earlier, there's two components to people. It's the internal people, your customer service, your salespeople, happy employees make happy customers. We have a lot of interface with our clients. And then the other one is, so that's your staff, and the other one is the ones that buy from you and spread the word. Annabelle's Entrepreneurs Ventures blog, don't just run out there and go wild on that because there's only 12 followers. But anyway, I thought this was an interesting graphic in how she ranked the piece. She put the product first, promotion second, we like that in our business. People are the center, makes sense. Price is down there low, and you know, people say all the time when prices, you know, reason for buying, everything is price goes way down the list. It's way down the list. And then she put place last because we are in this global world. As a provider internally, you need to be in a consultative role, not just a service provider. Again, we talk about better service, a better understanding of the product, and it ultimately allows a MarCom professional to develop better marketing communication. And how for the young people, I'd say how to go from, and I mentioned this earlier, how to go from a provider to a key person is to, you know, ask questions, wander around the plant, read up command reports, make business development and your sales people your best buddies. And by that, you want to debrief them. In other words, many times we find out the best marketing research is, primary marketing research is when salesman goes out and says, you're too high. The client says you're too high, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. That's the best marketing research, and so you debrief them and find that out. And then ultimately, I think the big thing is the more you do, the more you know the products, services, the more you know, you become a very valuable person within that organization. And finally, this is another stand story. Some of you may have heard this. It's about a hot dog stand. There was a guy up in New York, old man, had a hot dog stand. He had the best hot dog anywhere in New York. Matter of fact, people came from blocks and even miles around to buy his hot dogs. They were fantastic. He had ads in the local newspaper. He hired young people to put signs on light poles. In fact, he got so well he added 2 stands, hiring people. Matter of fact, he made so much money, he was able to send his son to college and put him through college, and another pretty famous college. Several years later, his business is doing good. His son comes home and says, and you can kind of relate to this in the oil and gas business, he said, Dad, we're in a recession. Have you not heard we're in a recession? You need to cut your advertising spending and maybe even lay a couple of people off, or you're not going to make it. Well, the father thought, well, my son went to this prestigious school, he's pretty smart, knows what he's doing, so sure enough, he cut his advertising back, he laid off a couple of people, and all of a sudden, business went down. And then he said, man, my son's really right, we are in a recession. And so then he cut back further, he lessened the quality of his meat, he closed one stand, and then when he closed 1 or 2 of the stands, his competitor took him over, and the next thing he knew, he was broke. Then he finally said, my son, I guess my son is right, we are in a recession. And my point, what I would say is, keep marketing, keep promoting. Thank you. Can I answer any questions? Be happy to.
I have a question. So, in your experience from, you've helped a lot of companies do marketing, and the unique stories of where you did something kind of out of the box, obscure, and it worked, where you were talking about, like, for example, Starbucks actually was, a couple of years ago, they were declining and they were closing lots of stores. And the way they changed that direction is they raised prices. And all of a sudden, the people who really couldn't afford the coffee, their clientele, got older and richer, let me just say that. And that was an out-of-the-box kind of, strategy, which ties into your pricing. But in your history, is there any nuggets,
I think when I look back through the years, and we've done so much B2B, I would think the biggest thing is like taking a client international. They just thought, well, we're just a Gulf of Mexico, North of the United States company, and then taking them, it's a local company here too, and taking them international. 2 or 3 we've done that, of just getting them outside of the box of actually taking them, because we're an international company, we have clients all over the world, and we market all over the world, but actually taking them and walking them through trade shows and where they can get a grasp of the potential of the international market. From a promotion standpoint, and really in the Starbucks case, what I would say is it was the concept of the thought that higher price must be better. So if we create, or they came in and I don't know about that story, but what they probably did is that they did the pricing thing as a peak. And really, I can't tell you how important it seems. So if you have a product, to go literally on a piece of paper and write price and compare your pricing. And probably what they did is they looked around, their price was too competitive. There was no competitive advantage there. They were too close. They didn't differentiate themselves competitively if they probably looked. And maybe more people coming into the market, CC Coffee, there's different ones coming into the stores and stuff like that. They had to set themselves up different. And I think that's a good thing. That's good. And that's a good pricing illustration. I don't use that.
Yeah. In that particular thing is they realized that there was a younger crowd and the older people with money weren't coming as much because when they went into the season, it was a younger group on computers, and so they raised the prices, and all of a sudden they changed the climate.
Well, yeah, and I got the Starbucks app, and you get the emails and music, and you get to
Me too.
and put money in there. The online digital world has changed, and even since I presented, the 4 Ps it's still strong. It's old school. And it's still good, but you have to think of the keys in a different world. And I highlight it when they're like, it's a solution, it's not a product, it's a solution. Or it's 2 people, not 1 person. It's internal people and external clients. So I think you have to look at that work. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So you have McDonald's as your client right now. Do they have the right solution for what they're doing?
I'm sorry, say that again.
So you have McDonald's as your client right now.
Okay.
Do they have the right solution? They're losing sales and they're trying to do something different?
Well, the breakfast, you talk about the
Yeah.
breakfast. I'm a big, I'm your kind of client because I'm a breakfast, all day long, so.
But is that the only thing that they need to do, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, that's a tough, see, we're B2B, so I can't really, but what I do know, and I've said this all the time, is if you really look around, Whataburger, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's are all on each corner. That there's something about the differentiation of each product that maybe I want a Big Mac, or maybe I want, Whataburger's strips deal, or maybe I want a Wendy's, bacon burger, or each has a differentiating product, and the couponing's big too. McDonald's is couponing, Burger King's couponing, Whataburger's couponing, everybody's couponing. A lot of couponing. So I'm doing different, I don't know what to tell you on that, really, that's maybe, that's a big challenge. But I'm sure they put a lot of effort and thoughts in the breakfast all day concept, for sure.
Well, doesn't demographics and the fact that we're moving toward a better diet, more conscious eating have a lot of effect in there too?
Well, could be, but let me maybe not the diet, but I think it's ease of eating. For example, I read an article yesterday in the Houston Chronicle where KFC is now going to deliver value meals in San Francisco and Los Angeles, and by scooters. And that Chipotle, they're already doing it in China. And the thing is, and this was news to me because I'm not in that sector of gas, oil and gas, I can go all day long. But this is very interesting to me because in that sector, there's two different providers, at least 2, that delivery services. that deliver meals. And one of them now, it's not, this is kind of hard to fathom, the delivery cost might be more than chicken. But it's anywhere from $4.99 to $6.99 for the delivery service. But it really only, and maybe they would only deliver, they're not gonna deliver you a wing, you know, or 3-piece meal, but the value we had the other day at Popeyes, you know, the family pack, you know, that might be a value thing. Now, my deal is I'd be scared to death being a delivery driver. But you know, it's kind of like Uber, you know, if you think about Uber, who all have been in an Uber car here? All right. You guys are missing, you haven't been in Uber. Uber's pretty good. I mean, but see, what's really amazing is taking a concept and bucking this yellow cab. You have to buy the ticket to run the cab. You know, here's some guys that it's pretty fantastic, amazing what you can do. A little scary, but anyway, there you go. But then you can look at my Uber app, and I can see where the cars are trying to figure out where I'm at. You know, it'll get there sometime. But anyway, it's pretty fantastic. There's so much going on with mobile applications and the world today. What we try to do is take the concepts from the consumer world a little bit as we can and adapt them to our model. And it's very hard in the oil and gas business. They are very slow to learn. As a matter of fact, with new technology, it's the race for second. Because what we didn't, you talk about is you come up with a new product, it is great, it's super, and you're doing everything right, but nobody wants the first to put this product on a $10 million, or $100 million well. Now somebody else does, and then it's race for second, whoever wants to be the next one on that. So it's a little bit different than the consumer side model. I hope I tried to answer your question. Any other questions? Yeah.
With the oil and gas market, you know, the condition that it's in, whenever you go from, you know, how things were, say, last summer or last spring, then it's a year later, you've had this turn. What kind of shift in marketing strategy for you business folks in the oil and gas sector, you know, are you looking at?
Well, that's a great question, and I would love to answer it because we have to do it every day. When when people want to cut, they start with advertising. The hot dog stand, But no, I think it's great. I look at it, and I tell this story all the time. Zig Ziglar, the famous motivational speaker who passed away last year, he had a great CD that I just listened to on Attitude. If you ever get it, it's just fantastic, lots of stories. But one of the stories he told about was speaking at a realtor convention in in Detroit. And it was a cocktail deal, and he went by a bunch of all women there, and he went by and one lady said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "Mr. Ziegler, have you not heard the Detroit auto workers are on strike? Home sales are in the dumper. Nobody has any money. They're selling houses like crazy. It's just been horrible for my business." He said, "I got more information than I wanted there." This is a positive thing. And he goes back around and he said, he sees no lady, says, "It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" And all of a sudden she said, "Mr. Ziegler, have you not heard?" He said, "Oh, what have I done?" But anyway, she said, Detroit auto workers are on strike. However, the real estate market is great. Only the qualified buyers are out there right now. They have time to look at the homes, only the best homes on the market. They can get a good deal. It's a glass half full deal. And that's what we kind of talk about, is if you look at it as an opportunity. For example, I've been doing it 35 years and been through Stay Alive 85 and a bunch of other ones. Every time these mergers happen, or people get laid off, there are good people that get laid off. They have an idea. They have backers. There's money out there. By the way, lots of money out there. It's a great time to start a business. Right now is a great time to start a business. because you don't have the overhead, you don't have all those people, there's a lot of good people out there on the market. And if, from a marketing standpoint, it's great in that, for example, that if a year ago today, if you were in a trade journal with an ad, you couldn't be found. You were buried. Now, you're a king of the roost. You can negotiate deals, you can get different positioning. There's all kind of opportunities to, you know, really get out there and market. Now, that's a tough, when you're letting people off, it's a tough sell for us. But we've been blessed, we have some great clients, they kind of hang in there. The ones that market, and there's been many studies, the ones that have, there's a great, I can't remember, it's like Intel, there's a bunch of great companies that were formed out of recessions down the line. I mean, there's great numbers on that. You can go back, and the people that stayed the course during the tough times. But if, I don't know if you were there, but we were, and we were involved with it, we were going to help that during the Shark Tank thing at Flagco. It was packed. It was packed because of the new client. There are people, and it's not packed with people that want to invest in ideas and innovations. So I would say that's, I would give encouragement. I would give encouragement in this time. It's tough, but I think the strong survive, and faith and stuff will get you through it for sure. Any other questions? Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure speaking. Have a good conference, and if anybody needs a card, I've got one, and we have this year. Thank you.